Hello, welcome back to the Island. It's half past midnight. I'm just gonna fucking go for it because I got distracted before this and by a lot, quite frankly. Anyways, let's just move on because I'm not gonna be recording for too long. I don't want to be going to bed at 3 a.m. Anyways, I arrive at the school cafeteria and quickly spot a familiar face, but she looks a little out of it. Worried to make my way to her table. Hey, Sango.
Takaki?
Sango stops nibbling at her chicken, egg, on rice to look up at me. As unusual to see you eating alone. Sango looks down and comfortable. I suddenly realize, don't tell me. This is still about the video filming thing.
Ruri-chan, もしかしたら怒ってるんかも。あんなことしたから。
She brings both her fears out into the open.
ルリちゃん、真面目っ子やから。嫌やったんかな、ほんまは。
Well, they both love each other, in a word. But perhaps the meaning of each of them is different. A misunderstanding. But Ruri hasn't been able to explain her feelings properly. Sango sighs and
うちのこ
murmurs.
と嫌いになったんかも。
There's no chance of that. My denial resounds throughout the cafeteria. Sorry. Sango and the rest of the cafeteria stare at me, put on a smile and softly sit down opposite her. Anyways, that's not the reason. Ruri loves
で
you.
も、お話ししてくれへんし、手もつないでくれへんよ。
Ruri has a stubborn streak that stops her from being honest. I carefully choose my words, trying to empathize with Ruri without hurting Sango's feelings. I think she finds it hard to accept your simple, honest feelings.
そうやの？
I'm sure. There's no way she could possibly come to hate you. No way. Never.
絶対？
Yeah, I'd bet my life on it. I answer without hesitation. I'm proud to be able to answer that. It's something I really admire about you two.
カキ。
At my words, the veil lifts a little. Sango cheers up, if only a little bit, and her expression
う
relaxes.
ち、高明のこと好き好きでよかった。
I failed to follow her logic as always. What's more, given the circumstances, I feel rather awkward.
だ
Why?
っていっつもうちやルリちゃんのこと心配してくれてるもん。
I am. Honestly, she may be right about that. It's just that if I leave them alone, I'm afraid I might have to see them cry. They'd probably be fine without me, but that's a scene I don't want to see. Am I just prone to
ほん
worrying?
まにルリちゃんのこと好き好き好きやないの？
I like her the same as you, but not any more than you.
でもルリちゃん高明のこと絶対に嫌いちゃうよ。高明が優しいから甘えてるんやで。
That's possible. She still says mean things and kicks me, but she's not as scathing as when we first met. Now I often wonder if she's just trying to hide her embarrassment. But Rudy's greatest love will always be Sango. I never believed I could intrude on that, nor would I want to. Anyways, I'll talk to Rudy. If she's trying to avoid you, I bet you're having trouble approaching her.
うん。
So where's she?
多分屋上上に上がってったから。
Rooftop. Cast a glance at the ceiling. I hastily finish my lunch and look for Rudy on the rooftop. Gotta strike while the iron's hot. Every delay just causes more pain for both of them. If I have the power to solve it, I should do it expeditiously. Oh, by the way, I found another reason to forgive Rudy for her violent tendencies at the start of the route. Turns out, this route is one of the routes that was written by the White Album 2 author. Writer, I mean. Which, the three routes he wrote were Sasara's, Ruko's, and then Sango's and Ruri's. Which, yeah, no wonder Sasara's and the twins' sucks. Quite frankly, it's a miracle that Ruko's was good. Considering that man fucking wrote it, or woman, I don't fucking care. That entity that needs to stop writing. Like, based on everything I've seen from stuff that he's written, the man or woman, again, don't know, just seems unable to write a story without just going over the top with drama or just over-exaggerate shit like Ruri's violence for the sake of fucking fun shits and giggles. Like, me and that writer do not fucking mesh. Certainly doesn't help that fucking Sango-Route specifically pissed me off. Like, a lot of his MCs, from what I've seen, seem to be that wishy-washy, considering the entire fucking cheating debacle in White Album 2. Which, if that's the type of MC he wants to write, go fuck yourself, quite frankly. Anyways. I get to the rooftop and look all around. It being lunchtime, quite a number of students are eating up here. But where's Ruri? Ah, I spot a familiar profile in the corner of the rooftop. There she is. She's in a recess of the rooftop, staring absent-mindedly. That's Ruri for sure. Take a deep breath and as naturally as possible put on a smiling face and call for her as I approach. Ruri!
Takaki?
Ruri's taken aback in my presence. Seeing my face, her expression clouds over and then turns away from me.
何しに来た？こんなとこに。
Wanted to see if it was coincident, but I guess I'm more... I wanted to say it was coincidence, but I guess I'm worried about Princess Ruri. Song's really sad. Ruri stiffens up at hearing Sango's name. You have to make up. Otherwise, I might take Sango for myself. Try to get her worked up, she just stands there silently. That comment should be worth 5 or 6 kicks, but she's not snapping out of it. Decide to give up any roundabout discussion and be straight with her. If you have something you want to tell Sango, you should probably tell her everything. I'm sure she'd understand. She'll accept it and nothing will change.
変わらない。
Yeah, for sure. Tears well up in Ruri's eyes. That's the issue? Ruri.
意味ないや。
Huh? Surprised to ask back, and Ruri squeezes out the words.
変わらへんのやったら意味ないや。
Well, that's the thing, though. Things will change. Because Sango will stop the reckless form of affection she tries to show Ruri, because she thinks that both their feelings are the same. Find a real lesson in sensitivity of my words. Sorry. I look away. I won't change. Of course she wants to change. Nothing changes. It's the same as Sango ignoring Ruri's feelings. For her to come clean, tell her everything, then have it all stay the same. No good would come from that, nor bad. That might make things easier on Sango, but definitely worse for Ruri. It would be even harsher than rejection. Ruri quietly sobs, fighting back tears. I made her cry again. With nowhere else to point her irritation, she punches me. It doesn't hurt, but it resounds within me. If that makes you feel better, play it. Hit me as much as you want. It's not much. It's not like there's no one else on top of the rooftop at lunchtime. With this bizarre spectacle, no doubt they'll soon be saying I made another girl cry. I don't care. Those words no longer hurt me. I just want to protect these girls' feelings for each other.
さんちゃんにバラしたら殺す。
I won't tell her. That's all she says to me after the bell rings. She pouts and turns away, rushing back to her own classroom. I wave sadly and watch her off. Good grief.
相変わらずラブラブなんだかわかんねえなお前らって。
Yuji. I'm grabbed firmly from behind.
ああ、喧嘩するほど仲がいいってことか。
If
否
only.
定しないな。
You really think so? You're crazy.
バカバカしいって？
Tell him as I shrug him off. If Sango and Ruri are getting on well, that's good enough for me.
枯れてるな。まさかしたもんか。
Leave me alone. I get particularly pissed off at his undisguised insinuation, but reply lightly. Those two never thought anything of me from the beginning. That's how they are. That's how I like him. So I don't care if they're not my
それ
sweethearts.
でいいのかお前は。
What's the point of wanting more than that? What for? Why do we fall in love with someone? For sex? The half-asleep feelings within me rise up and speak on my behalf. Even if you might, I don't. Yuji shrugs his
真面
shoulders.
目すぎだよ。いや、欲張りすぎか。
Too lustful.
俺にはお前があの二人の恋人以上になろうとしてるように見えるよ。何もかもすっ飛ばしてな。
After school.
高明。
お出迎えだぞ。
I'm preparing to go home when Yuji calls me to look over. The girl standing hiding in the shadow of the door. Sango. When she spots me, she puts on a feeble smile. I can tell from her expression that the situation panned out as I predicted. Then, also as predicted, Sango says
一
to
緒
me,
に帰ら
Go with her. And then after that, just go to the computer room. Go with her. Sure, it's not like I have anything to do. That's what I say, though even if I did have something to do, I'd throw it away to go with Sango. I'm worried about the two of them after all. My classmates, especially the girls, aren't aware of the complex circumstance, so they watch me suspiciously and gossip. Ignoring them, I grab my bag and leave the classroom with Sango. I often walk home with Sango, but it's unusual for her to ask. Alright, Ruri should be here, but she isn't. I can pretty much figure out why. Still having problems with Ruri? Sango nods slightly to my
ルリ
question.
ちゃん、買い物して帰る言うたけど、うちも行く言うたら、
She was trying to avoid her, even though you told her clearly. I sigh. But I can assure you that she loves you, Sango. She doesn't hate you. You just haven't had a chance to make up, that's all. I encourage her. But Sango stops walking
う
and
ち
says,
ダメっ子やな。ルリちゃんいっつも困らせてる。ずっとずっとずっと。あの時から。ル
Sango,
リちゃんの喜ぶことしたいけど、なんもできへんし。
you don't need to try so hard. You're doing everything you can and that's
でも
enough.
うち、お姉ちゃんやもん。ルリちゃんに、喜んでほしいよ。
She looks down, her voice full of uncertainty. You want to make her happy?
ルリちゃん、いっつもうちのことで一生懸命やから、ちょっとでも楽ちんにしてあげられへんかな。
Both of us rack our brains. Can't think of anything that makes Ruri happy except for Sango herself. Sango has this incredible focus for things she's interested in, but with anything else, she's hopeless. They complete each other. With Ruri always handling the things outside of Sango's abilities. The two of us mill it over for a few minutes. Sango raised her voice suddenly.
そうや、こと思いついた。
Oh? What is it? What did you think up? Sango answers with a satisfied
お
smile.
洗濯。
Washing. Sometimes it just won't end well.
文明の利器万歳。
I see. Modern appliances make both washing and drying easy. If it doesn't even matter if you make a mistake with how much washing powder to use. It does make a mistake if you put the wrong thing with the wrong thing, though. Note they have a white dress and a pink uniform. If you put them in together, that uniform is not staying white for long. That dress is not staying white for long.
これやったら、うちにもできるよ。
When it's done, Sango takes washing into the center of the living room and says,
あとは、分け分けするだけや。高置も手伝ってな。
I came along out of concern for this dubious plan, so I can't very well just spectate. So I help separate the washing. However, a cord sticks out of the pile of washing. What's this? I yank out the cord-like thing from the washing. This is a bra. These are panties. The pink bra is a little larger, so it's probably Ruri's. Naturally, what matching bra and panties will be amongst this pile of washing. These white ones will, with hardly any cup that looks like they belong to a child, are probably Sango's. Aren't these toxic to me? Reflecting on it, even these everyday clothes spent all day wrapped tight around Sango's and Ruri's bodies. The more I look at them, the warmer my face gets, and now I can't stop thinking about them, even if I look away. This work is torture, sis.
どないしたん？
I'm red-faced and sweating. I naturally attract Sango's concern. Nothing. I stand there sad and fidgeting, so Sango worthy comes to take a closer look, ending up only a few centimeters away. No man on earth could resist a cute girl this close to him. It's no use. I want to touch her. I want to kiss her. If I tell Sango I wanted to do it, she would, wouldn't she? And it won't be a crime. But wait, what am I thinking? That little cord completely severed my sense of reason, and now the sound of the key into the lock takes our
ただい
attention.
ま。ルリち
Seems Ruri back from the shopping. Sango gets up, smiling expectantly. I relax and let out a huge sigh. Saved, for now. Yuji's not entirely mistaken about what he said. I may well be the enemy of humanity. I'm making myself out to be their protector, then suddenly I want to get physical with them. I'm scum. Harsh voice breaks through my thoughts.
ゃん。はあ、また高木おる。
Hello. I greeted Ruri with an uncomfortable
また
smile.
飯食いに来たん？高木は猫まんまでええな。
Then she noticed the pile of washing in front of us.
何してるん？
Isn't it obvious? Nonetheless, Ruri stares blankly at the unexpected situation. Sango, waiting for this moment, delivers her line.
お洗濯して。お洗濯って。
Blindsided, Ruri keeps staring at the pile of washing. I thought she'd honestly appreciate it, but strangely she starts panicking.
柄物、色物、
Knew it! Knew it! What? Examine the washing. Now she mentions that they look multicolored. Way too multicolored.
わかんの
Sango asks Ruri, not understanding. Then Ruri says,
あかん
amazed.
に決まってるやん。色移りとかするんやから。おまけにブラまで放り込んで、手洗いせなあかんのに。
Ruri then glares at me and says,
高明って何してたん言わなあかんやんか。
No, I do the washing the same way. Naturally, I do my own washing, living alone, but I don't separate colors from whites, nor do I hand wash my underwear. Ruri becomes
こ
despondent.
れやから男は。
Shattered pride. I hang my head in shame. I thought the washing would be a cinch, but it seems I was wrong. Finally, Sango seems to understand she did something wrong and hangs her head alongside me.
ごめんな。さんちゃんうち、ルリちゃんが喜んでくれることでけへん。ダメっ子やな。そんなことないよ。さんちゃんのおかげですんごいマンション住めてるやん。
Ruri tries to cheer her up, but Sango, who's on the verge of tears, shakes her head.
うちのせいでルリちゃんは。またそれ言う。そんな昔のこと、うちもう忘れたよ。
Ruri hugs Sango
何
close.
度も言うけど、あんなんいらへんかったもん。みんな分かってへんねん。さんちゃんのええとこ、うちはずっと生まれる前から知っとったけど。でも気にすることないやん。さんちゃんは好きに生きてええんよ。ダメっ子ちゃうもん。ええ子やもん。だからさんちゃんは今もこれからもうちがずーっとそばにおったるから。うちがさんちゃんの妹やの。そのためやもん。神様がそう決めたんや。
With that, she lets go of Sanchan and smiles
そ
gently.
れでええから他の誰もいらへんから。
Ruri places a little peck on Sango's cheek.
これで仲直りしよな。もう二度とさんちゃんにあんな辛い思いさせへんよ。ほなこれはうちがしたるから。さんちゃんは高明と遊んどき。
Ruri steps away happily and starts cleaning up the washing, completely unconcerned. She won't avoid Sango anymore. There may well be nothing that could possibly break the relationship between these two. I say to Sango softly. Come on, it's alright. Ruri must love you. Must love you. But as I watch her from behind, she sighs again. Seeing her like that, I let out a tiny sigh on my own. She's probably still thinking she's a nuisance to Ruri. I want to say something to her, but I can't quite put words to it. There's one thing that bothers me about him. The relationship between them. It's a greater bond than simple sisterly love. Taking a step back and looking at it, it may be over the top. Can't help feeling there's some dangers in them making it so. Sound of the phone snaps me out of my reverie. Sango and I are both near the phone, but it's not our place to answer. Ruri gets up and grabs the
も
receiver.
しもし
I watch for her reaction. After answering a couple questions, she puts it down and calls to Sango.
さんちゃん。長瀬のおっちゃんから電話。おっちゃん
Sango takes the phone from Ruri. Nagase. Who's Mr. Nagase? Ruri sees my
クル
confusion.
ス川の偉い人。
Yeah, we know him. Sango was involved in the Kurusugawa Android development, right? Anyway, I occasionally hear Mr. Nagase over the phone. I start to tune out until Sango's tone of voice changes.
ほんま
Sango lets out a surprisingly loud response. Her voice goes from vaguely involved to brightly animated. At a sudden change in attitude, I start listening in a bit.
そっちはええのそやのほな明日待ってるって言っといてな。
Tomorrow. Wait. Yet more interesting keywords and my interest rises. I wonder what's happening tomorrow. By the light in Sango, it won't be something trivial.
ほなバイバイ。
But that's the extent of the information conveyed, and she hangs up. Then Sango trots over to us again and lets out a delighted voice.
やったーさんちゃんどないしたんそんなににやけて。
Ruri asks Sango curiously. She must be just as interested as I am. Sango beams all over and says one word.
約束約束
Rudy's face becomes more and more perplexed, as does mine, but Sango continues unconcerned.
明日ようやく叶うよ
That's still not enough for Rudy. Bewildered, she asks Sango.
約束ってさんちゃんうちと何か約束した？
But Sango just smiles and doesn't answer.
秘密ルリちゃんきっとびっくりやびっくり？誕生日はまだまだやし
Accidentally scroll instead of clicking. Rudy racks her brains. There we go.
なあなあさんちゃん一体何？教えてよないそないそ明日のお楽しみや
What'll happen tomorrow? I can see it's got something to do with Rudy from the snippets of information. Perhaps I should say it'll be something designed to please Rudy. Day turns to dusk and Sango keeps her secret. Alright, keep your secrets. 28.
高木
Ah.
おっし
Morning, Sango, Rudy. Greet the twins at the bottom of the hill road. Have you two been well?
昨日元気やってんから当然やん
Rudy looks at me oddly, confused why I'd even ask such a thing. Yes, that his awkwardness isn't on her mind at all. It's been a while since I've seen them looking so happy, so I kind of wanted to hear that answer. Having said that, I've never seen Sango with quite so bright a grin. If I left them, they might start dancing in the street. That's how lively they are. And it looks like they've reached an agreement that really works out for the best of both of them. Ugh, tongue is hard. Sango skips on ahead of us and up the hill, and Rudy and I follow close behind. You seem happy, Rudy? Quietly probe her. But what about that promise?
さあ
Even after sleeping on it, she still doesn't remember it. However, Rudy makes sound like it wasn't a big deal.
いつものことやもんしょうもないこといつまでも覚えてるからきっとまだしょうもないこと
Doesn't it bother you? I ask her, but Rudy shakes her
やう
head.
ちにとって大事なんはさんちゃんが元気なことやもんさんちゃんが元気になってくれるなら何でもええ
To Rudy, all that matters is Sango's happiness. Still, are you really okay with the way things are?
何があかんの
Well, nah, but it just seems like to Rudy, Sango is the world itself. For now and evermore, she will mean everything to Rudy. Isn't there something that you want? Or something that you want to do? Even if it's something without Sango.
うちのご機嫌とってもさんちゃんやらへんで
That's not what I meant. Rudy answered without any interest in my
うちは
elaboration.
ずっとさんちゃんのご飯作って洗濯して掃除できたらええもん
Again, literally just explain. That might not make Sango happy though, because it would feel to her like she's robbing you of your future.
それ以外したないもんだから
Rudy pauses then says quietly.
さんちゃんがうちの心知らんでもええそばにいてくれるだけでええねん
Yes, that's how Rudy rationalizes it. But I wonder, he doesn't have any further desires. Or does she have to extinguish them? More than anyone, even now, Rudy is fine with not being noticed in order to watch Sango power on forwards. Regardless of whether Rudy is there, she's visible, but has no substance. Just vacuous, or like a ghost. That day was a surprisingly ordinary school day, like I haven't seen in a while. Classes dragged on. I had lunch with the twins and chatted in the computer room. Yuji made indecent remarks about goings-on behind closed doors, then more boring classes, and finally threaded tests. I'm sure it is how every day will go until the time comes to graduate. That's how the day made me feel. Class is now ended. I've done the cleaning. All that done, I think I'll go to the computer room. I decided to show my face at the computer room before going home. It's not like I particularly want to see them, but happens to be convenient, and I'd feel bad if I didn't say goodbye to the twins. Thinking that to myself, I packed my stuff and headed for the computer room. Besides, I smile wryly and be a little honest with myself. I say I'm uncomfortable around girls, and that I'm keeping those two at arm's length. But even so, I think they're poisoning me or something. I just might be showing some symptoms of the poison. Whatever I say, each and everything those girls do is charming and likable. But ever since the amusement park incidents, that one flickering doubt is yet to be resolved. It's not really love that I feel towards them, isn't it? Is it? I'm still not certain. What I do know is that my feelings are bound somewhere in the depths of my heart. Sango, Ruri, you here? Door's unlocked, so naturally they're here, but I ask anyway and peek inside. The twins materialize from the shadows of the computers. Well, not exactly. I came just to say goodbye for the day, but I had automatically changed plans. I'm either indecisive, easily influenced, or both. Probably both. But just as I changed my mind, Sango says reluctantly. Ah, that's right, I'd forgotten. She had that appointment today. In that case, I shouldn't overstay my visit. So I automatically changed directions. And I guess I'll get going too. Ruri waves to me, looking immensely pleased. I'm a little heartbroken. I did come just to say goodbye, but even so, I'm rather sad. Perhaps I do like him. I begin to trudge away when Sango stops me. Sango invites me in her usual carefree manner, but didn't you have some kind of appointment today? Won't that make me a Batinsky? Sango says to me without a hint of hesitation. Immediately, Ruri was not pleased with the current situation anymore. So we end up leaving the school together. Ruri glares at me from time to time, but out of deference to Sango, she doesn't say a word. However, Ruri's displeasure echoes throughout the quiet school grounds. I wasn't lying. I'm not a liar, I tell you. Her insults never really progressed beyond primary school level. I won't admit I'm actually bothered by them. The more I tell her, the more childish the argument will become, and then Sango will proclaim we're getting along well. Besides, this time I just couldn't think of a comeback. I'll let Ruri have the final word this time. Anyway, I wonder why Sango invited me along. Admittedly, I've visited their houses a few times, but this feels different. The way she said introduced me and Sango was meeting up with someone, but she'll introduce that someone to me too. Again, I bet it's Michan. From what she said, they have some kind of connection with Ruri, and I'm just a side benefit. But if it's someone that Ruri will be happy to see, would I be in the way? Don't tell me it's their parents. That'd be a problem, sus. Sango may mean to introduce me as a friend, but usually when girls introduce a boy to their parents, he's seen as a boyfriend. Furthermore, even if she thinks everyone's family, her parents might not. I actually should probably go home. The disappointment and triumphant responses ring out concurrently. Additionally, did you want me to come out to not come? So you wanted me to come. Ruri suddenly goes red. I really don't know how to interpret this. So which is it? Ruri's reactions are unreadable as ever. But Sango has already decided exactly what Ruri means. Never said we had that kind of relationship. We both vehemently deny it, but Sango was intent on not accepting it. Then she looks me in the eyes and says outright. Crap, she actually noticed. Ruri turns and glares at me at Sango's words. Ruri turns and goes to chase me off. As I anticipate the usual kick that follows Ruri's bellow, another voice comes from behind. Ruri's kick can begin. Before Ruri's kick can begin, another flying kick launches at me. I stumble trying to block it. The next instant, I'm face down on the ground, and I can't move. My arms are pinned, twisted unnaturally. My arms! They're about to break! That Then I finally notice a woman's voice. Nah, perhaps it's there's not the time to think about that. Ow, 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 ow! My joints creak. They may snap at any moment. I might pass out from the pain alone. Feel a compound fracture coming on. The force on my arms eases at Sango's voice.
そんなことしたらあかんよ、いっちゃん。
Ichan? An acquaintance of Sango's. Ichan asks Sango back, flustered.
もしやこの方は赤き、うちとルリちゃんの友達。ラブラブやね。ラブラブ。
When she hears this, Ichan releases my arms and hastily backs off. Testing my unbroken arms, I manage to stand up and look at the girl called Ichan.
レベル2の方だったんですか？
Level 2?
ラブラブ。
Ah, two loves, level 2.
申し訳ありませんでした。サンゴ様、ルリ様のお友達とは知らずに無礼なことを。
What's this? The mannerisms. She has a strange attachment on her ears and a fantastic outfit that, at first glance, looks like cosplay. She must be a maid robot. But I don't get that kind of impression from her. There's no ordinary maid robot.
家で待ってて言うたのに。待ちきれずお迎えに来てしまいました。
She peels the song with an embarrassed
出過ぎ
expression.
た真似でしたでしょうか。あかんことないけど。友達、いじめたらあかんよ。すみません。ルリ様の危機と勘違いして思わず。
This is definitely an acquaintance of Sango, and apparently a very close one. However, both Ruri and I are totally confused so far, just staring vacantly at the exchange. But Ruri quickly becomes unable to just watch with how well these two are getting on. She interjects.
さんちゃん、これ何？
And Sango says with great pleasure to Ruri.
何って約束？約束？
Appointment. In other words, the appointment from yesterday was to meet this maid robot. The maid robot takes a step forward and bows deeply.
高明様でしたね。自己紹介が遅れました。私、イルファと申します。
Ilfa.
正式名称 HMX-17A クルス川エレクトロニクス次世代アンドロイド研究機
But she says that title with a cheeky laugh, then smiles to me and says,
というのは表向き。実際のところはサンゴ様のプライベートアンドロイドなんですが。
Then, on seeing the suspicious look from Ruri, Ilfa lowers herself slightly. You see the short Ruri eye to eye and says gently.
ルリ様、
Ruri tenses up fearfully at the unexpected
お
formality.
忘れですか？ルリ様、あの時の面影はありませんが、中はあの時の私のままです。あの時？私はあの時からこの日が来るのをずっと。
Again, she's not going to remember because it wasn't Sango that was... she wasn't Sango. It was unrelated, not important to her. Then Ilfa's voice quivers slightly full of emotion as she says,
私はルリ様のためのメイドロボです。
Maid robot for Ruri. Just what does that mean, I wonder? On face value, her role is to help Ruri in taking care of some of Ruri's household chores. We, Ruri, Sango, myself, and Ilfa, professional form of address, don't walk down the hill road together. The center of that discussion is, of course, Ilfa.
いっちゃん、いつの間にあんな覚えた？
Sango stares intently at Ilfa, immensely
あん
curious.
なのと申されますと、護身術のことでしょうか？
Out of self-defense. I don't think breaking arms could be called that. But the fact that doesn't seem... But that fact doesn't seem important to Ilfa. She smiles and answers Sango.
もちろん、いざという時、サンゴ様、ルリ様をお守りするためです。
Ilfa says confidently. That's great. She was probably programmed that way. However, for a moment her eyes left Sango and turned to Ruri. Not her face, just her gaze. Just as though she was stealing a glance. Even if she didn't want to be seen, there was no need for her to be so secretive. Moreover, it's completely unlike a normal maid robot, which would make no unnecessary gestures, and certainly not such complex ones. In contrast, Ruri is fixated on Sango and Ilfa talking to each other, totally unaware of any subtleties outside their interaction. Outside that interaction. It's as though the human and robot traded places.
どうかなさいましたか？
In the blink of an eye, Ilfa was facing me. Nothing. Taken by surprise, I reached for some relevant topic. Maid robots lately have gotten really quick. I always thought they were much slower. It actually was on my mind. Not just fast, but it gives the impression of precision and acuity. Sango answers that
いっ
proudly.
ちゃん、もともとサッカーロボやったから、 ボディは変わっとるけど運動は得意なんや。
Soccer robot.
ロボサッカー日本予選プログラム部門準優勝。
That's right, Sango was also involved in that competition. Ilfa must have originally been one of those robots.
準優勝
But Ilfa herself looks depressed at that illustrious honor.
言わないでください。身内の恥ですから。
Embarrassment to the
で
name.
も長瀬のおっちゃん大喜びやったで。あんなロボット見たことないって。見たことあるはずありません。相手ロボを試合中に恋に蹴倒すなんて。
Knocked over?
私じゃないんですよ。相手選手を蹴り飛ばして、しかも不可抗力を言い張ったのは。
Ilfa hesitantly mumbles out an excuse.
私には妹、同型機のシルファちゃん、ミルファちゃんがいるのですが。
Ilfa really seems to have difficulty
ミ
saying
ルファ
it.
ちゃん、実は少々、いえ、かなり、すみません、今のお世辞です。つまるところ、真実は相当乱暴者でして。
Huh?
全くお恥ずかしい限りです。
Ilfa blushes and curls herself up.
でも悪い子じゃないんですよ。その乱暴なだけで、いえ、乱暴という時点でかなり致命的なんですが。
Ilfa falls on by not following on with her flustered expression.
でも最近は料理や行儀作法にも興味があるようですし、少しはメイドロボとしての自覚に芽生えつつあるんじゃないかと思います。多分。
She says, not very
ミルファ
confidently.
ちゃん、今仮ボディから専用ボディに移植中なのですが、胸を私より3センチは大きくしろってまた大騒ぎ。正直私がいない間何をしでかすか心配です。
Wait. Ilfa Ichan. Milfa. Naming convention demands Michan. Oh no, the maid robot that has a thing for Takaaki is a violent one. Bae. Goodness me, with just one story I'm stunned 3 times over. Backstories about knocking over other robots and fussing over breast size are bad enough. But what's scarier is the way she told it all. Emotion made her leap from one story to another instinctively. If not from tone of voice, it was like a conversation between friends. This needs no Turing test. Is this really a conversation between a maid robot and a human? I certainly wouldn't have said so. Sango, aren't you pulling my leg?
発語
Admitted, Ilfa's actually a human.
そんなことありません。
Huh? I only meant to say it lightly, but Ilfa cuts in between me and draws near
私
me.
はサンゴ様、そしてルリ様の手によって生み出された真の次世代アンドロイドなんです。お二人を貶めるような発言は聞き捨てなりません。謝ってください。
Sorry! I wasn't actually doubting her, it's just not expecting to be threatened by a maid robot. I go to explain myself to the twins. Anyway, I'm sorry, okay? And I'm apologizing in near panic. Then Ilfa takes a step back from me and bows
ご
her
理解
head.
いただけて幸いです。
This one's amazing robot in many ways.
ですが、高明様のように勘違いをなさるのも無理からぬことかもしれません。私たち HMX17 はこれまでの HM シリーズとは全く異なる技術的アプローチがなされた機体なんです。
Different approach.
はい、ボディはクルス側製ですが OS はサンゴ様の手によります。あれだけの動き、感情表現ができるのはサンゴ様の提唱した全く新しいシステムがあればこそ。その名も大根インゲン飽きてんじゃ。
Aren't you tired of daikon, radish, and beans? Mean. Sango says that happily, but not seeing it coming, Ilfa gets depressed.
違います。 DIA ダイナミックインテリジェンスアーキテクチャおでん屋さんみたいなこと言わないでください。
Actually, it is also DIA. Sango took the brunt of Ilfa's violent protest, but she just pouts and looks away.
永瀬のおっちゃんが勝手につけた名前やもん。うち知らん。サンゴ様。
I guess Ilfa doesn't care for hearing her brain summarized as vegetables. This time Ilfa's objection is a little more plaintive. But now I finally understand her enigmatic words were meant to be this acronym. I don't really get what it means, but it's the basis for Ilfa's natural movement and emotional expression. That story was no pipe dream because here it is implemented in real life. Android with absolutely human
大
qualities.
体サンゴ様ってば超いい加減なんです。妹たちの名前だって2号3号は大昔の漫画に出てくる南の島の原住民みたいって抗議したら胸の微妙な個体差で M とか S とかつけて。
Rather than complaining, it sounds more like she's completely given up. Well, it's not like you dislike Sango, is it?
まあ
Ilfa smiles cheekily and says,
私の生みの母ですから残念なことに。
Unfortunately. Despite her abusive words, her voice is warm. She's no
た
machine.
だその高度かつ繊細な OS を十分活かせるボディを個人で用意するのは困難でしたので、ロボサッカー用という名目でクルス側からボディが貸与されたんです。
So you're like a collaborative work of Sango and Kurusugawa Electronics.
はい、私たちの所有者はサンゴ様ですが、大会後も安心して研究とサポートが続けられるようにクルス側預かりという形になっています。
So financial recompense for the development and engineering of Ilfa was that apartment and platinum card.
永瀬のおじさまはサンゴ様を高く評価されてます。ですから初めは既製のボディでしたが、つい最近専用のボディも用意してくれたんですよ。
She says and twirls around to
これは
demonstrate.
次期主力の HMX16 のボディをカスタム化したもので、センサーを中心に強化。16自体従来機より軽量かつ耐久性も向上しているので、運動性能もシリーズ最高です。
I can vouch for that firsthand. I almost had my arms broken by its self-defense. I had no idea Maid Robot could move like that. Ilfa squirms.
お恥ずかしいところをお見せいたしました。なんてお詫びすればよいか。
No, that wasn't what I meant. I was just saying you were amazing. I break out in a cold sweat while frantically gesturing my denial. Ilfa smiles shyly, sensing my
そう言っ
discomfort.
ていただけると嬉しいです。ですが、私のことは呼び捨てにしてくださっても結構なんですよ。
No, with you being so perfectly formal and polite and appearing so mature, I couldn't possibly. Personally, I feel a little squeamish being called Sama. If you could, I'd prefer it if you called me son, too.
高明さんがそうおっしゃるなら、私に拒絶する理由はありません。
Seems to get it, but I look away shyly and peek at her expression. Did he do something funny? Ilfa chuckles.
お優しいんですね、高明さんは。
That wasn't what I was. I didn't mean it that way. Words pounding violently at such a conversation. It's been a while since I felt this fluster in front of a girl. Hanging around the twins has bred familiarity, and my heart can't deal with this newcomer. That's right. No matter how I look at her, Ilfa's a regular girl.
そんなに見つめられると恥ずかしいです。
Sorry. Like, honestly, God, it would be hilarious if we just, like, walked over to Song and like, hey, this is fucking scary. She's so goddamn lifelike that it's triggering my goddamn anxiety when it comes to women. Like, this could arguably said to not be okay. I think you've actually brought us one step closer to the robot uprising.
高明はスケベやから、女やったら何でもいいんや。
Ruri, who has been silently ignoring most of the discussion, cuts in, but she doesn't look at us with displeasure. Ilfa turns to her and says in a slightly rebuking
ル
tone,
リ様、ご冗談とはいえ、お友達をそんな風に言うのは感心しません。高明さんに嫌われてもよろしいのですか？
In response, Ruri looks down glumly. Meanwhile, Ilfa watches Ruri uneasily.
高
However,
明なんか友達ちゃうもん。ルリ様、ルリちゃん。
Ruri leaves us and runs off alone. Sango goes to follow her, but recalling me, she gives me a quick goodbye.
ごめんな、ルリちゃん追いかけんと。
Okay.
私も失礼いたします。
Ilfa turns to me and bows deeply, then chases after Ruri down the hill road. Yes, that part about me being invited to their house has changed to me being blown off. That's what the sort of emergency it seems to be. However, I wonder why Ruri was acting so strangely. Seems like something had finally given way, making her lose her temper. Is it my fault? I don't think so. Perhaps it's... In the end, after going home, I didn't get a call from Sango. Though by the same token, I couldn't bring myself to call them, so I spent the night uneasy. Tomorrow's a day off. Wonder if I'll be able to see them the day after. Cheery as always. Greenery Day, 29th. Day off without any particular plans. I was debating going to Sango's house when someone dropped by. I set the thought of the twins aside and head to the entryway. Coming. Take a look through the security peephole. And there I see... Ilfa. Come in. My voice is a little hollow as I show her to the living room.
せっかくの休日、迷惑ではなかったでしょうか。
No, not at all. That had nothing to do anyway. It was a diplomatic way of putting things, but for the time being, I shut away my concerns about Sango and offer a seat on the sofa. But I never imagined you'd come here.
昨日は高明さんに失礼なことをしてしまいまして、お詫びです。
She says and offers a small box. Judging from the box, it's probably
どの
okay.
店が美味しいのかわかりませんでしたから、適当なものを選んでしまいましたが。
No, but don't fuss about these things. As I take the box, I glance briefly at Ilfa. At that precise moment, Ilfa looks at me, so I look away flustered. I don't think we're going to fall in love staring at each other, but I can't get used to this happening. In turn, she also fidgets. I already thought she was cute, but that kind of shy behavior makes her seem even more girly. What was I doing? I don't know, it was the cake right in front of me. Right, cake. I head to the kitchen.
お茶でしたら私が。
It's fine. You're a guest. Ilfa looks a little uncomfortable for some reason. Anyway, I press on asking her. By the way, would you prefer tea or coffee, Ilfa? Then it suddenly hits me why she looks a little upset.
ですから私がしましょうかと申し上げたのに。
Ilfa says, troubled. Ilfa's an android, of course. She doesn't need her drink. Feeling all helpless, I give up on the tea and set the cake in the fridge. See, I was gonna offer to prepare you the tea, and suddenly he just goes into the kitchen. After a little while, he comes back. I don't know which one's the correct thing, and he just shows her a pack of batteries and a charging cable. I don't know how this robot shit works. Does it work? I don't know. Is it metal you need? Sorry, I'm panicking. Without sweets or drinks, I'm not really sure how to entertain. As I heard about what to do next, my unease just keeps increasing. Now I understand why guests are offered refreshments. I consciously sigh deeply. I catch myself and hastily shut my mouth, but Ilfa clearly saw that. Now she probably thinks I'm put out that she's here. She may be an android, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. As I think that, I get more and more heavy-hearted. Should I apologize? But how? Pregnant pause. In that silence, it becomes even harder to get any words out. But if I wait any longer, I won't be able to say anything at all. Jeez, just apologize already. A half-hearted second before I speak, Ilfa breaks the silence.
すみませんでした。
What's more, she says what I was supposed
や
to
っぱ
say.
り迷惑でしたよね。突然訪ねてこられても。
That's not true. I earnestly try to make an excuse to not hurt her feelings, but it's just going to make me even more embarrassed. But it's better than putting her on the spot. You're not a bother. You came here for me. The truth is I'm just uncomfortable with girls, so I don't know how to talk about...
女の子？
Ilfa looks at me in amazement. Is it so strange? You're a girl after all.
いえ、なんだかとても嬉しいです。
She says and breaks into a broad smile.
サンゴ様、ルリ様が高明さんに心をお許しになっている理由がわかります。今日は高明さんにお会いできてよかったと思います。
I don't know about that. We're still probably in the midst of wanting to get on better. She was really sweet. She's really very sweet. Surely her saying she came for Ruri must be the truth. I think she must want to bond with Ruri. So,
高木さん
now, there's something I can help you with.
え
Ruri, well, he's the kind of girl who is intensely fearful of strangers and finds it hard to get on with people. Had a hard time with her too. How about it? I look at Ilfa inquiringly. She looks startled at first, but soon smiles and
い
says,
え大丈夫ですルリ様を信じてますから誠心誠意ルリ様に尽くせばきっと分かってもらえると思います
Indeed, even if I try to explain and give her tips about getting along with Ruri, it's optimistic to think they'll get along immediately. Relationship of trust is something you build day by
で
day.
すが、
ん
一つ重要なことをお聞きしたいことが
Ilfa's eyes look serious. There's an intensity there, a single-minded focus. She's gonna ask which one of them he's going out with or something. Don't tell me she wants to ask me for the special move that will take Ruri
あの
out. Yes? Ilfa moves forward and consciously back up against the sofa. What does she want? Do?
お肉の安いお店って
Or that?
ご存知でしょうか
Butcher.
はいぜひぜひご飯でルリ様に納得していただきたいのです
She stands up and firmly clenches her fists. Only maid robot could say that with a straight face. But a butcher, huh? I opened my mouth to say something, then shut it quickly. If immediately figures out why and says wryly,
本当はルリ様にお聞きするつもりだったのですが
Ruri would know best, but she's afraid to ask. In that case, okay, I'll tell you. I'll choose the most suitable I know of, but it may not be the best.
はい構いませんそれにもしよければ他の買い物ポイントなど教えていただけないでしょうかこの街の地図は記憶してるんですが情報が不足していて
Now I'm actually curious that if I were to finish this route and then... If I were to finish this route and then start a new playthrough and get to the scene where he's accompanying a maid robot in the shopping district, I'm curious if it would be her. Just with her temporary body instead of this one. Okay, wait a second. Probably a matter of shopping district and brochures would be best. Go upstairs, looking for suitable reference material. Sorry for keeping you. Took about 2 or 3 minutes. I collected a few things and returned, but some of the living room was dead silent. Huh? Look around the living room. There's nowhere to be found. She'd go home. Nah, I discard that possibility immediately. Ilfa's polite, so I don't think she'd leave without a goodbye. I check the entryway. I find Ilfa's shoes still neatly placed there. She can't have gone home. But it's not exactly a mansion, so it doesn't seem likely she's lost. Is she hiding? What if Ilfa is an android capable of being playful to the point of hiding in wait to surprise someone? Well, that's probably not it. Look around, there's one more place left in doubt. The toilet. Lights are usually off at the toilet, but they're on now. Ilfa's in there. Light being on is a dead giveaway. Suddenly the idea of it being a game grabs hold of me again. Quietly make my way to the side of the door, toilet door, and put my hand on the doorknob. Don't. Faint sigh comes from inside. Target confirmed. Alright. I take a deep breath and fling open the door in one go. Ilfa! Yep. She's on the lullabox. I gazes meet if there's a deed in the toilet, but she's sitting on the toilet seat with thumb down, which means, now I've done it. If a scream reverberates throughout the house, shaking the walls. So anyways, maid robots have to pee, huh? I learn something new every day. To be fair, I didn't need to learn that. Ilfa's come out of the toilet, it seems. I can't look in her eyes. I curl up on the couch, huddled in on myself. Ilfa comes over to me and asks in a low voice.
見ました
I go beat red and nod. I saw. She was just like a real girl. Not that I've seen the real thing yet. But there's no time to consider myself lucky. Will I be taken to the police? Even if not, the twins will certainly hear about me being a peeping bastard. How do I so easily get wrapped up in this sort of trouble? Nah, there's no time to cry about bad luck. I honestly apologize. She might forgive me if I lay down on the ground and scrape my face on the floor. Throw my hands to the floor, but Ilfa interrupts me.
顔を上げてください。そんなことをされると困ります。
But it was my carelessness at fault.
気にしてないと言えば嘘になってしまいますが、高明さんでしたから、その不愉快というほどでもありませんし。
Really?
でもいいと言ってるんじゃありませんよ。
You are quite right.
諦めがつくというか、きっと高明さんを信頼しているので小さなことだと思えるんでしょう。でもこのことは内緒にしてくださいね。
Of course. If it was to get out, I'd be treated like a deviant.
そうですね。一歩間違えると警察沙汰です。
If I may have just been telling the truth, but my heart sinks. As no one on earth, I could be as forgiving as Sango and Ilfa. For the rest of my life, I'll make sure to knock on the toilet door. But I never imagined that Android would go to the toilet.
このボディは野外での長時間運用も考慮して燃料電池を使用してるんです。でも燃料電池は使用すると水が発生しますから、長時間運用すると。
Ilfa falters at saying anymore, even if what she emits is just water, it still embarrasses
そ
her.
れに場合によってはバッテリーパックの交換もしないといけませんし。
Changing. When she says that, and suddenly stop thinking. I'm the lowest of the low. I unconsciously saw the lower half of Ilfa's body.
それも説明した方が
I shake my head, almost
よろしいでしょうか。
hard enough to fling it off. That sounds like an explanation that would be refused to minors. But even androids get embarrassed when being
当
seen.
然です。恥ずかしくないと街中を裸で出歩く恥じらいのないメイドロボになってしまいます。
I mean, it could also just be programmed into them that they're only allowed to be naked at either their master's request or during, like, washing themselves or changing. But that's true. Of course, it should be so obvious that they need to be embarrassed to not walk around outside naked. It must be a very important feature. Well, no, I don't think regular maid robots get embarrassed at all. They're probably just programmed to wear clothes. Is that also thanks to the dynamic? What's it? Ilfa smiles and corrects me.
いえ、ダイナミックインテリジェンスアーキテクチャだから感情が生まれたんじゃないんです。逆に感情があるからこそダイナミックインテリジェンスアーキテクチャ足り得るんです。
Because there's emotion. That makes it sound like emotion is the reason, not the other way around. Androids usually think logically and move thanks to their OS. In other words, logic is their foundation. And the emotion program is loaded like in the HMX12, and I've also read in books you can add additional emotion programs. But Ilfa isn't like that.
私たち HMX17 は OS として感情プログラムがあり、感情が情報を意味付けし、それを知性としているんです。
What? So emotion rather than logic is the basis for Ilfa's
これ
actions.
は人間と同じ出発点から知性を作ろうという発想なんです。
Can't think of it. I had a feeling Sango said something like that, but I wasn't listening too intently at the time.
赤ちゃんの時は知性はなく感情があるだけですが、快不快のようなプリミティブな感情が情報をより分け、あるいはランク付けして行動の規範としているはずです。
So they remember which actions cause pleasure and displeasure, learn in order to manipulate that, and as a result become
単
intelligent.
純化すればそういうことです。はじめは生きるためだけの情報の意味付けも多くの経験を積み重ねることで自然と高度化、複雑化していきます。その到達点を知性だと捉えているのです。
I see. Even when I was born, I wouldn't have known anything. Yet, as I live and I learn and think about various things along the way. It's not live and learn. it's not a fucking Sonic soundtrack. After I climbed up the cupboards to get to the sweet box and fell, I took a chair and stood on it. My actions are governed by the feelings of wanting to eat. I learned from the results of them and makes me think of better ways. But the beginning of
ダイナミ
intelligence.
ックインテリジェンスアーキテクチャというのは簡単に言えば飛躍した思考想像力のある機械ということなんです。はい。バケツを見て水を汲むだけでなく叩いて楽器にもするし裏返して座って椅子にもする。経験に基づき全く別の情報と結びつけそれが想像力です。
Indeed, in my earlier example, I thought of standing on a chair, but chair isn't actually meant for that. That's hitting on an application used for the chair's shape. That's a little grandiose calling it the power of imagination, but that's more or less it.
従来のモデルベースのアンドロイドははじめに答えありきバケツというものがはじめにありそれを形や色や大きさ用途に分解して覚えているようなものです。だけど私は欲求から必要な形や大きさを割り出しそれを満たすものを探したり作ったりします。そのものがバケツとは知らなくてもいいんです。
It doesn't matter if she doesn't know. How bold. It sets a bit of Sango in her, slightly off-kilter worldview. But thinking of actually applying that view, it does seem pragmatic. You don't stuff anything and everything into a huge and flexible brain. This way it can act under any circumstance by speculation and autonomously coping. There's probably no situation that it can't deal
従
with.
来の HM シリーズも一部学習機能を搭載していましたがですが HMX17 はビヘイビアベース行動と学習から知識を獲得し環境に適応するものとして作られています。
I see. What she's been saying is that it's a fundamentally different approach, but wouldn't that take an awful lot of time? It takes humans many years to be able to live in a society. Androids may learn more efficiently and rapidly, but how many days would that take? Then Ilfa meekly says.
もちろんアンドロイド1体に10年20年かけることは実用的ではありません。ですからプリインストールされた部分がありますし直接プログラムを修正されたりもしました。そうやって生み出されたものが人間の心と同じものなのかは議論の余地があるとは思います。でもこれが私の心なのだと私は信じてます。たとえこれがまがいものだとしてもそれを与えてくれた方々に感謝しています。
After that, Ilfa said she had to make lunch for the twins and went home. After the one somewhat harrowing event, I wanted to avoid any further conflict with Ilfa for the day and cancelled all my plans. 30th. That morning I didn't meet the twins. They weren't waiting at the bottom of the hill as usual, going wait a little while. Whether they had gone on ahead, were planning on being late, or were taking the day off, they didn't show. There's some awkwardness between them again. I'm a little worried, but if that's all it is, then I'm sure they'll be fine. Both of them think of so much of each other. Even if they have differences of opinion, I can't imagine hurting their relationship. I realized this after the video recording incident. It's undeniable, though, that their daily lives have altered dramatically. Another person has entered their world. I've respected Rudi's wishes, maintaining my slight distance. But in spite of that earlier incident, the balance between them hasn't been destroyed. But how will Ilfa change their lives? A lot. Considering one of the quote-unquote pride points, let's call them, of Ruri is the fact that she cooks, cleans, and washes clothes, and generally takes care of Sango. Ilfa, being a maid robot specifically made to do those, would take those away. Which might make Ruri feel useless. Lunchtime, as Sango come to school. The twins are part of the cafeteria crew, so at this time they'd be there, so I'll go check out the cafeteria. We'll go see. I decided to leave the classroom. As I head to the cafeteria, I spot two familiar faces outside the window. Sango and Ruri. Looks like they did come to school. Briefly wonder why they're outside, but then I noticed they're eating from lunch boxes. You always go to the cafeteria, so it was pretty unusual. I grab my shoes from the shoe racks and head for the courtyard. Lunch boxes. How strange, you're the cafeteria types. I call out to the two of them. Twins raise their lovely faces at the sound of my voice.
Takaki?
Wave amicably, and Ruri immediately averts her eyes. While her sister looks away, Sango offers me her lunchbox with a carefree gesture. The lunchboxes are small though, so it's not like she has a lot to spare. You sure? Double check if it's really okay. Sango answers with her usual smile. Well, can't very well turn her down. I take a piece of hamburger and my chopsticks and put it in my mouth. It's good. But the seasoning is a bit unusual. The taste is sweet and a little simple. But like a child's lunch. I haven't eaten all that much of Ruri's cooking, but enough to know that this isn't her work. Ruri has a more refined adult taste. Ichan meaning Ilfa. She shows her skills as a maid robot. Really? Wow, what a maid robot. I'm honestly impressed. Ruri chimes in, displeased. Seems Ruri doesn't wake up early enough to prepare lunchboxes in addition to breakfast. That's why even though she can cook while they eat at the cafeteria. Takes Sango's simple statement surprisingly harshly. She takes Sango's simple statement surprisingly harshly, though. She goes on in a heavy voice. Sango says with a downcast look. Ruri raised her voice at those words. Sango says in a calming voice. Ruri looks at the lunchbox sitting on the grass and yells. For a moment I thought she'd kick the lunchbox away, but she hesitates. Ruri storms off, leaving behind both her lunchbox and Sango. Rooftop again? I should go after her. I get up, but Sango's voice pulls me to stop. Despite the crisis, I think of myself just for an instant. Isn't Sango's expression so sweet? I look at the Ruri's lunchbox, abandoned. I barely touched. Is it alright? It is Ruri's after all. I ask again. Sango puts on a troubled smile. I sit down next to Sango, take the barely touched lunchbox and quietly finish it all. Sango says to me in monologue. So the root of the problem is Ilfa, the maid robot Sango made, with whom she shares a special relationship. But Ilfa's own words, Sango holds a special place in her heart. In addition, Ilfa is now in charge of the household duties, making Ruri feel that her place is being usurped. Of course, the most important thing to Sango is Ruri. I don't think that will change for all eternity. But Ruri can't see that having her work given to Ilfa won't make Sango stop loving her. Sango mutters face down. After school I was worried about Ruri, so I went to the computer room, but that ended up in complete failure. The door was firmly locked. Did the twins go home immediately? Well, I don't think they'd be in the mood for extracurricular activities, so that must be it. With nothing else to do, I decided to head home. Somewhat lifeless ride home. Sadness seeps out from the depth of my heart. There's one reason for that sadness. I'm like a genius to figure it out. In addition, for me and Ruri to get along even as well as we do is a miracle. There's no manual to recreate it. I consider that as I aimlessly make my way home. Reality is harsh. As I'm about to put my key in the lock, I remember something relatively trivial. Dinner. Reality really is harsh. I want to neglect it, but I'll get hungry. Fortunately, fasting wasn't on my to-do list for the day. What's more, my stomach wasn't going to be content with a convenience store meal. Oh well, I'll go buy some at the shopping district. I pocket the key and head for the shopping district. In the evening, this place gets busy with people coming home from school or work seeking dinner or a snack. Without a firm idea of what to buy, I wander around bargain hunting. The first big find, however, is not food. That's Ilfa.
Takaki-san?
The ear covers and brilliant blue hair. Her work clothes are simple yet unique and somewhat futuristic. No matter how you look at her, she unmistakably stands out. At any rate, there are no more than 3, right? Such supremely capable androids. Hi. My voice is a little shaky, and I raise my hand in greeting.
こんにちは。
Yufa bows her head naturally as though nothing happened
高
yesterday.
明さんもお買い物ですか？
Yeah, sort of. You mean you are too? I ask and she happily answers.
はい。お弁当、瑠璃様に気に入っていただけたようですから。
For lunch.
はい。ですから、頑張ってお夕飯も作りませんと。
Why?
高明さん？
Of course, I actually ate Rudy's lunch and I start to tell her that. Then seeing how motivated she looks, I hesitate. But unfortunately, she guesses from my expression. Yufa says despondently.
そうですか。お弁当、食べてくださったのは、高明さんなのですね。
Sorry. And it was a lunch that she'd worked hard on for Rudy. Felt terrible about treading on Ilfa's
で
feelings.
も、謝らないでください。お気を使っていただいて、高明さんには感謝しています。私がしたことが無駄にならなかったんです。高明さんが喜んでくれたなら、私も嬉しいです。
Despite her words, I can see she's actually fairly sad. She wants to make Rudy happy, not me. Ilfa forces a natural smile, trying to mask her disappointment.
本当に問題ありません。私は元気ですから。
Despite working to the best of her abilities, she isn't getting through to Rudy, and that saddens me as well.
私はまだまだ未熟なメイドロボです。でも、きっと瑠璃様の本当のメイドロボになってみせますから。
Yeah. Unable to find courage to shatter Ilfa's energy, I smile affectionately.
本当に高明さんには救われます。
Both of us avert our eyes, it goes silent, conversation lagging. What do I do
そう
now?
いえば、高明さんもご夕食の買い物を？
Huh? Do you expect a comment? I hastily answer. Yeah, more or less. And Ilfa makes an even more unexpected
なら
suggestion.
お礼というほどのものではありませんが、瑠璃様たちとご夕食などどうですか？
Dinner.
と瑠璃様たちもお喜びになります。
Dinner, huh? Lately, I found myself taken to Sango's house, and no doubt the pattern of ending up enjoying dinner there will continue. That's awkward enough, but going nigh uninvited to their house to eat is, fine? Question mark? Are you sure?
ぜひ。
When a girl says of course to you, you'd be screw up to say no. Okay, don't mind if I do
ありが
then.
とうございます。
Ilfa says and bows deeply. By the way, are you still shopping? I asks Ilfa, to which she nods. And so I join Ilfa's shopping. Ilfa said she really didn't want to trouble me, but I was bored anyway. Besides, Ilfa isn't like a maid robot. I mean, I felt uncomfortable about just letting her carry the bag, so I asked her to give me one. She's just put on a troubled smile to my request and fussed around a while before reaching a compromise of sorts. Ilfa managed to fit all her shopping together in one bag, making me redundant. But taking a close look at all her groceries so far, something bothers me. Now I was just gonna ask what tonight's dinner was. So far, she's brought potatoes, carrots, onions from the greengrocer, and the butcher was next. The route suggested curry rice was likely, but she said that actually it was meat and potato stew. Suppose it's a nice disguised route for stew too. Ilfa explains.
今日は瑠璃様のご希望で、
Duty.
カレーでラーメンでハヤシなメニューだそうです。
What's that? One would I think it's some kind of code word. I mean, I ask Ilfa, but she just inclines her
わ
head.
かりません。
You don't know? Well, I guess if Rudy really did say that, I don't know either. You wouldn't say something that complicated of accident after all. Why'd you make curry ramen and hashed meat separately?
いえ、きっとこれは瑠璃様が私のことをお試しになってるんです。
Challenge?
きっとこれはカレーでラーメンでハヤシというお題なのです。
Trial. Hey, this isn't one of those improv games where you have to make a story from 3 unrelated items. But above all, Ilfa wants Rudy's approval, so she's pumped up about this strange request. She's in serious mode.
だから私考えたんです。うどん屋さんで見かけたメニューをヒントに生み出した史上初の新メニュー。その名も
She prepares to declare victory. I'm worried she wouldn't be so thrilled if she'd asked the shop owner. Don't tell me she's about to say. Curry ramen. Just for Ilfa speaks unconsciously said out loud. She freezes. Crap. Was I right? Ilfa turns to me in an unusually mechanical fashion.
どうして それは
The robot is moving mechanically. I confess the truth with some trepidation. Curry ramen has been around a long time. Even have instant noodles.
そんな
We seem to have found a gap in Ilva's background. She is suitably shocked and quickly becomes depressed.
わかりました。データベースに不足があったことは認めます。でも
Ilva shows no sign of giving up. She grips her fists and vows a rematch. But,
まだ林があります。
nah, that's really not a good idea. I'm about to jump in, but I get the feeling she won't listen. I uneasily watch the
カレーと
outcome.
林を合わせて
Fuse.
林カレー。
She just combined the names. To be honest, I can't imagine how that would taste at this moment. But did she even think about the flavor? I guess I'll ask, what kind of food is that? In response, Ilfa stares at me blankly for 10 seconds. She says as though it doesn't matter.
さあ
Beats me. Now I'm wondering if she even understood what curry ramen is like. He's not gonna impress an expert cook like Ruri like this. Ruri is a very talented chef, so if you make something strange for her that turns out bad trying to please her, it'll just displease her.
そう思われますか
Finally realizing the gravity of the situation, she hesitates a little, concern spreading across her face. Then Ilfa says without
わ
regret,
かりました。ラーメンと林は諦めて普通のカレーにいたします。
that's for the best. But the lunchbox she made was tasty, so why this strange contradiction? It's like she has no concern about the taste. I wonder if can you not taste?
そんなことあるはずないじゃないですか。
She's worked up. It's actually pretty weird to see a robot worked up. But with me staring at her, she can tell what I'm thinking and says,
内緒ですよ。
"So you really can't taste? But then how'd she make lunch? But I suppose that's
料
obvious.
理はレシピ通りに作ればいいだけですから。
Indeed. If you make food measuring the ingredients as per the recipe and follow the instructions, it should just turn out like the recipe.
それに私の味覚センサーはサンゴ様を基準に設定されています。そこから外れないように味付けをすれば、とりあえず問題は発生しません。
I see. While Sango's sense of taste might not be as keen as Ruri's, she still will have decent taste, I think. So it should be no problem if it's based on that. On the other hand, she can't make anything outside of that experience. Nah, she may not even know anything else.
メイドロボ失格なんでしょうか。私は。
Wonder if Ufa has a complex about not being able to taste. It's virtually mandatory for a maid robot to cook. Plenty of maid robots just do it without any effort. But I don't think even the twins understand taste the same way as Ufa. I mean, recipes only go as far as go so far towards making tasty food. Ufa has a soul, yet she has very limited sense of taste. Even though she yearns to make delicious food, she can't judge if she has succeeded. Can't imagine how hard that must be.
ただいま帰りました。
Excuse me. Ufa finished acquiring curry ingredients, and then I accompanied her back to Rudy's place.
ああ、高明
Sango comes to greet me as I enter. I'm relieved at her delighted greeting, though when Rudy sees me, she doesn't hesitate to voice her
ま
displeasure.
た高明がただ飯食いに来た。
Sorry.
ここレストランちゃうねんで。
If you say I should pay, I'll gladly do so. The usual give and take, but if I sense that she's responsible for me getting attacked, so she backs me up.
申し訳ありません。高明さんは私がお連れして。イルファが呼んだん？
When Rudy sees Ilfa cut in, she pulls
い
back.
け
a
な
little.
かったでしょうか。別にええけど。
Rudy answers curtly and turns away. She seems to have difficulty talking to Ilfa. Ilfa speaks to Rudy, timidly watching for Rudy's reaction.
ルリ様、普通のカレーでよろしければ。ええよ、なんでも。
Rudy mumbles her response. Ilfa looks troubled and just says understood before carrying the groceries into the kitchen. She starts cutting the vegetables with skilled hands and adding them to the pot. In the meantime, we're watching TV in the living room, but nobody's really paying it any mind. Ilfa's work goes smoothly, and soon all the cooking is lined up on the table before us.
出来上がりました。
Are getting the curry CG, but this time with Ilfa? We all sit at the table. Ruri accepted Ilfa's feelings, I wonder.
美味しいよ
Not yet.
いっちゃんはい研究しましたから
Indeed, without exaggeration, it is tasty. Even though it was just following a recipe, she must have used a famous curry house for reference. And it's actually hard to say which is better comparing to Ruri's. It would only come down to a matter of preference. Watch for Ruri's reaction to see how she responds. Ruri seems to have taken a bite or two, but after that she just stares at the plate, not eating. Ilfa watches her uneasily. She couldn't possibly be about to say it tastes bad, so that means...
ごちそうさま
Ruri leaves most of the curry uneaten and
ルリ
stands
ちゃん
up.
まだ予算残ってるよ
Sango calls out to Ruri in surprise, but Ruri simply
食べたない
responds.
ルリちゃんお口に合いませんでしたか
Ilfa desperately tries to gauge Ruri's reaction, but she just bluntly
食べ
says.
たないから食べてないだけやもんそうですか
Ilfa gives up and sadly watches
高
Ruri.
明一緒にゲームしよう
Okay. Most unusually, Ruri pulls me by the arm into the living room, but I know why immediately. I ask Ruri reluctantly. Ruri, aren't you being too cold towards Ilfa? You heard her, you know? She hears me but gives no response. Half trying to trick her, I ask her, are you jealous?
ちゃう
And why? But again, she goes silent. I give up trying to trick it out of her. But I'm not leaving it at that. I quietly tell Ruri, Ilfa being around won't change who's most important to Sango. I'm sure that she didn't care for you just because she left you in charge of a lot of housekeeping duties. Cleaning and washing in this room is perfect. I mean, Ruri's been doing a great job, but this is better, as I'd expect from a certain Kurosagawa maid robot. That, and credit also must go to Sango's design. You're going to be with Sango for a long time, so you can't do this. Surprisingly, Ruri doesn't answer. This is sacred territory for Ruri, more so than I can imagine. But why does Ruri want to serve Sango so fervently? I suppose Ruri just lives for Sango, sacrificing herself. That's completely... Sango soon joined in the game as well, but it wasn't particularly fun. Ilfa was doing the washing, cleaning, and ironing, but that just gave the impression she was lonely and not part of our circle. For long, despite it being noisy with the four of us, a desolate atmosphere descended. Although there was one more than usual, it was like no one else was there. I tried inviting Elva over my eyes, but each time she just smiled sadly. Time passed slowly, and it eventually reached 11 p.m. Time to go.
また明日な
Yeah, see you tomorrow. You too, Ruri. Ruri obediently answers, but it's not very lively and just makes me worry more. But I can't just stand around here. I head to the entryway and Ilfa follows me. Ilfa?
下までお送りします
I have no reason to turn her down and head to the bottom floor of the apartment. Looking back as I exit the apartment, Ilfa staring at me. Say. I think that's the only time I can say this to Ilfa. Don't go hating Ruri.
高明さん
Sango is very special to Ruri. That's all there is to it. So, Ilfa looks at me with serious eyes and says,
私がルリ様のこと嫌いになると思いますか
no. That's not a question at all. The voice carries a powerful will. The very idea is
嫌い
ridiculous.
になるはずありませんそんなことありえない話です絶対にありえません
Ilfa says clearly without any doubt, absolute confidence. That's how strong her declaration is. It's because Ilfa is a robot. I'm depressed. Why is this so funny to me? You know what? You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye bye. God fucking damn it.